Another video. I know that this is probably a bit odd because this is obviously a United States election prediction channel. But as you can see by the title of this video, if you're not interested, obviously skip away. But I'm going to be making an NFL playoff prediction. Where I'm just gonna be doing an NFL playoff prediction. I did one last year. I'm not sure if that's public or not, but I will be making one this year as well, just for fun and because it is technically a prediction channel. So we'll be making some NFL predictions. So without further ado, let's get right into the predictions. We first start off with the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. Right now, I would say that the Cleveland Browns are a better NFL team. Joe Flacco has been playing phenomenally over the last weeks, and the Cleveland Browns really have made a significant comeback. I believe they started 4-4, something like that, and they've gone 8-2, and now they are 11-6. They've done very well. And the last game, I wouldn't even say, or the game yesterday at this point against the Bengals didn't really count because all the starters were resting. But Flacco has been playing at a very high level, even at 38 years old. So, and he's one of those last old guard quarterbacks. It's him, it's Rodgers. I don't even think Matt Ryan's in the league anymore. So there's very few of them left, and Flacco's still there. CJ Stroud, of course, a very new quarterback, a rookie, first year. I really think that he's going to have a similar experience that Trevor Lawrence did. Now, he is a rookie, and I don't think that he's going to make the Super Bowl this year with the Texans, but they are a very solid team, and they do have a lot of potential going forward. I'm going to give the Browns the victory here. Stroud, I do think the Texans will be a formidable opponent going into the next decade, but at the moment, they will lose the wild card game to start CJ Stroud's playoff career. Anyway, getting into the Dolphins versus Chiefs, the Chiefs are home. The Chiefs do very well at home. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is a phenomenal coach. Mike McDaniel is also a phenomenal coach, but I just don't have enough faith in Miami at this point. The Chiefs are a very iffy team, keep in mind, but I do not believe that the Chiefs at this point are going to lose in the wild card round. I do see an unfortunate Miami exit, but they have been playing they've been playing well, but just not on that par, and the Chiefs have been winning their last two games. They have been making a little bit of a comeback, and they started the season all right, and I do think at this point they still would advance to the divisional round. Give me the Bills here. I mean, this is pretty obvious. I don't really see the Steelers winning. If they do win, I would be shocked. But the Steelers are just a very odd team, a very questionable team. They're on like their third stringer. Trubisky's out. Pickett's injured. Mike Tomlin, a phenomenal coach, of course, brought them to another winning record. He's never had a losing record his entire career. But I just don't think that the Steelers are anywhere close to being on par with the Bills. The Bills are likely the third best team in the league at the moment. Heading into the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers. I mean, the Eagles have just been playing very poorly. They're one of the last five. They just lost to the Giants. They've lost to a lot of just terrible teams, and the Bucs are playing at home. Baker Mayfield's been pretty solid, and the Eagles have just been falling apart. I just don't think that I think that their season will come to a crashing end as the regular season did. The postseason won't really be anything. They had a really good start, the Eagles. I think they were like 10-1. And since then, it's just been a disaster. Rams versus Lions. This is going to be a very, very close game. Edge the Rams out. The Rams have been playing incredibly well, but the Lions have also been playing very well. I mean, it's going to be very close. Jared Goff going up against his old team. Give me the Rams. I mean, I trust the coaching on the Rams more, and I trust Matt Stafford, and of course Cooper Kupp. The Rams, in my mind, just have a more solid team. They started off their season pretty poorly, but they've gone, I believe, 7-1 in the last 8 games. They've been playing very well. The only loss was to the Ravens, of course, in overtime. And they played pretty well against the Baltimore Ravens, considering how well the Ravens are playing this year. Give me the Rams to slightly beat the Lions. In this game, give me the Cowboys. Similar thing with Love and Stroud. Both are rookie quarterbacks. I see both losing in the wild card round at the moment. But I do see a lot of potential going forward. The Packers definitely do have that late playoff to even possibility of making a Super Bowl. Not going forward in the years to come, but this is going to be a good start for them. Similar thing with the Texans, a good start for both of these quarterbacks, both of these young teams, to eventually go into the late stages of the playoffs and potentially make a Super Bowl. Now let's head into the divisional round. For the divisional round, we look at the Chiefs versus the Bills. I got to give it to the Bills. I mean, the Chiefs are away, and they have not been playing that well this year. I mean, you look at the receiving end of the Chiefs, it's just they've been unable to catch the ball, and they've lost a lot of games that they should have won. The Bills started off very poorly. They have a lot of momentum now. They were looking like they were going to not even make the playoffs heading into this week, and now they're the number 2 seed in the AFC. So the Bills are definitely, in my mind, top contenders for the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs just don't have it in them at the moment. Now we have Flacco against the Ravens. Flacco returns back to Baltimore after they ditched him for Lamar Jackson. Now Flacco's been playing incredibly well, but the Ravens are just an entirely different level. The margin is just insane. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens have picked apart every single good team that they've played this year. Essentially, they've had 2 losses to the Steelers. One of them didn't count. The other one, definitely, the Ravens should have won. And the same thing with the Browns. They had a loss to them earlier in the season, 33-31. That should have been one. The Ravens were up 14 points against them essentially the whole game, and then the defense kind of threw at the end. But I just don't think that will happen this time. Flacco returns to Baltimore only to lose, unfortunately, in the playoffs, and could be the end of his career, but he definitely could be coming back because of how well he's played. And if he does come back, and if he is a starter for the Browns next year, they do have Super Bowl potential. Again, I would say start looking at the start of the season then. Bucks versus Cowboys, you got to give it to the Cowboys. I mean, the Bucks and Baker Mayfield have done well. They made the most of their season. They did the same thing that Tom Brady did. But again, year to year in the postseason, I do see them losing to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys move on to the championship. Cowboys have been playing very good football. Dak is a bit inconsistent, but overall, they have been playing good, and they've been beating good teams. And I do think that they are top contender for the Super Bowl. Give me the Rams versus the Niners. You got to go with the San Francisco 49ers. So ultimately, the 1 and the 2 seeds from both of the divisions move on to the championship conference. And the Rams versus Niners, I mean, the Rams are a good team, but the Niners are also just on another level in the NFC. And I do see them beating the Rams pretty handily, probably by 14 points or something like that, maybe 7 on a good day. Let's start with the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills have had a hell of a season. They made a hell of a comeback. They were 6-6, and then they move up to being the 2 seed. The Ravens have been dominating all of the good teams that they've played this whole season. They beat the Miami Dolphins by, I'm pretty sure, over 30 points, 40 points. I don't exactly remember that, 56-19 or something like that. Insane. Against the 49ers, beat them by about 14 points. 49ers were long considered the best team in the league. They destroyed the Detroit Lions 38-6. They destroyed the Seahawks, and the Seahawks, honestly, when they played them, they were 6-3, and the Seahawks have had a pretty hard, difficult record. You look at their division with the Rams and the Niners in it; they do have a hard record. The Ravens just tore them apart. They beat the Bengals earlier in the season with Burrow on the team. The Ravens have had they beat the Jaguars 23-7. When the Jaguars were a little bit better now, obviously the Jaguars are eliminated from the playoffs, but the Ravens have just dominated. They're just on a completely different level, and they will beat the Bills in the championship game if they continue to play on that level. And I do see that, given that them being at home. You look at Lamar Jackson's history in the playoffs; it is very questionable. He does, in my mind, have that experience. And if there's any year for the Ravens to go all the way, this is the year. When you look at how they've been playing and Lamar now having experience in the postseason. The only thing is John Harbaugh's clock management. Is he able to manage the clock well, or is he going to of course, kind of blow it at the end? That's the only concern that the Ravens should be worried about, is staying true and playing the game out to the end and not becoming complacent about things. That's what they need to do, and they'll beat the Bills. Cowboys versus Niners. I do think that this will be a close game, but I do believe that the Niners will win. Both of these teams beat the Eagles pretty handily, and then that brought the Eagles all the way down. The Eagles were looking like the number 1 team in the NFC, and then they played the Niners and got manhandled by the Niners, and then the next week they played the Cowboys, and same thing happened. They both of these teams destroyed the Eagles, but I do think at the end of the day, the Niners are a more consistent and a better team than the Dallas Cowboys at the moment. The Cowboys come very close. I see them losing by only about 3 points to the Niners in the championship conference, but they do fall short of the Super Bowl. They do have the capability of making it to the Super Bowl, but this year there are just better teams, and San Francisco is the better team in the NFC. So, unfortunately, they miss out on the Super Bowl, but they have a lot of potential. Now we'll head to the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers. This is a repeat of Super Bowl 47, a repeat of when Joe Flacco was on the Ravens and Colin Kaepernick was on the 49ers. My, how far we have come. Now we have Lamar Jackson against Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy basically came out of nowhere. Lamar Jackson, the running MVP, will likely have a second MVP, and he's just been playing phenomenally. Previously, it was Jim Harbaugh versus John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh still in the Ravens. And now the 49ers, of course, have Kyle Shanahan. Jim Harbaugh right now with Michigan about to play the national championship today, technically, because I am making this video past midnight. But yeah, Baltimore Ravens against the Niners. Previously, these two teams met in the season, and the Ravens beat them by about 14 points. I'm going to cut to the chase. I do believe that Baltimore Ravens, at this point in time, will win the Super Bowl and defeat the San Francisco 49ers by about 7 to 10 points. I see this being a close game, but by about a possession or a possession and a half. Um, the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. At this point in time, Lamar will get his first Super Bowl, and the Ravens will bring one home to Baltimore for the first time in 11 years. A repeat. The 49ers have been to a lot of Super Bowls in the past. In the past, 10, 15 years, I think they've been to about 3. But unfortunately, they come short again in the Super Bowl. So the Ravens bring one home. If we scroll down, we can look at this playoff picture, and you can see that the Baltimore Ravens have just been dominant the entire season. They've beaten all of the good teams, essentially. They've beaten the Dolphins by just an insane amount. They've beaten the 49ers. They've beaten the Lions. Although the Seahawks are not in the picture, they've beaten the Seahawks. The Ravens go on to win the Super Bowl and bring one to Baltimore. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel and let me know your thoughts in the comments below about who you think will win the Super Bowl and if you think this prediction is accurate or if it's completely off. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.